sir?
Please do.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Take a seat, Abhishek.
Thank you, sir.
A quick introduction, please.
Sure, sir. So my name is Abhishek Sharma. I am a resident of Agra, Uttar Pradesh. I have completed my secondary education from Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. Thereafter, I have completed my BTech in Computer Science from NIT Bhopal. I have also had the opportunity to work with Deloitte for 2 years as an analyst. Apart from academics, sir, I like writing ghazals and playing chess.
How is it that with a background like that and having a professional degree, having worked also in that area with a very prestigious firm, why did you decide to change horses in midstream?
Sir, there are more pull factors than push factors in this decision. Sir, what I always wanted from a career, UPSC, what a career in civil services provides is like a jigsaw fit. Sir, I wanted my potential to be maximized, my leadership skills, my communication skills and other soft skills to be utilized as well, apart from the technical skills which I was utilizing in Deloitte. So, sir, this career seemed a perfect fit for my aspirations.
Right. Tell me something about quantum computing.
Sir, quantum computing is the future avenue of computing. It differs from traditional or conventional computers in a way that it works on qubits. They differ from traditional binary bits because they can take simultaneously 0 or 1 at the same time. The limitation of binary bits was that they can either be 0 or be 1. But they work on quantum interference phenomena where they can either be 0 or be 1 or both or something in between.
So, switching tracks, talking about the civil services, they've come under a lot of scrutiny, and one article recently had the headline, "The IAS has failed the nation." What would be your reaction to that?
Sir, I'd certainly say that statement to be an exaggeration. Indian administrative services particularly.
An exaggeration or incorrect?
So there are some things in which maybe the administrative service officers have not performed as per the expectations of the citizens. But sir, without administration service officers, it is sort of impossible to run this nation, as correctly said by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, that they are the steel frame of this nation. So sir, that statement, if not incorrect, definitely is an exaggeration.
Okay. My final question to you, in the context of public services, how would you define corruption in one sentence?
Sir, corruption is the misuse of interested power for personal gains.
Very good. And one point of view is that it lubricates the wheels of government. Would you agree to that?
So those who try to justify it like that it increases the efficiency, it increases the speed. But sir, I personally, as far as my humble opinion is concerned, don't think. I think in the long run, it rather reduces the efficiency. It rather makes the machinery less efficient.
Thank you. Please.
So Abhishek, you're from Madhya Pradesh and you've studied also in Madhya Pradesh.
Right.
Tell me, is there anything in Madhya Pradesh which has like an industry or an institute which has a foreign collaboration?
My own institute, Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology.
Okay. What about industries? I'm more focusing on what kind of an FDI profile is Madhya Pradesh got? Foreign direct investments. Has it been successful in getting good amount of foreign direct investments, or the state needs to work on that a little more?
If we compare Madhya Pradesh to other states,
No, I'm not comparing. I'm just talking about Madhya
so ma'am,
Pradesh.
it is still now in a transition from agrarian to industrial economy. It has been successful in certain sectors like cement industry. So there has been a lot of FDI in that industry because it is.
From where? From where?
I'm not aware of the countries, but it is receiving a lot of FDI in that particular industry, and it is one of the leaders as far as states are concerned in India because of the natural process.
The cement industry. Any other?
As of now, I can't recall any other industry.
So why do you think Madhya Pradesh lags behind, say, states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, in attracting foreign companies and foreign investors?
Ma'am, there can be multiple reasons to that. Some being the average literacy rate in Madhya Pradesh is still lower than southern states, and there's a lot of remittance coming in southern states as well. So their model of development is more based upon remittances, which further get invested in industrial.
Do you think it has something to do with the government policies, which sort of keep the investors away and they go here and there? Has the state done anything to attract?
And definitely the government is taking steps.
Okay, let's move on. Are you aware of Act East policy?
Yes, ma'am.
Or it was earlier called the Look East policy, and what does it entail? Which countries are we targeting with our Act East policy?
Ma'am, Look East policy, it focused more on economic aspects.
No, with which countries?
Ma'am, countries which are on the eastern side of our country, like Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam,
Yes,
Indonesia, mostly all the
Southeast
ASEAN
Asia. Okay.
ASEAN countries, Japan, China also, for that matter. So, yeah.
And would you know of any concrete examples to say that we earlier were just looking, now we are acting? So what is our acting resulted in?
A recent example I can think of is Indonesian president being chief guest in our Republic Day celebrations. So we are giving those nations diplomatic and political priority. So that is one aspect where we are actually acting on improving our relationships. The partnerships are increasing from just economic, like trade agreements, to comprehensive partnerships.
So agreements is one thing. Has the trade actually gone up?
Yes, ma'am. The trade with ASEAN.
So you need to just brush up a little bit on these statistics about India's trade with countries and abroad. Where did Prime Minister Modi go in as his first visit in his 3.0 term? Where was Mr. Modi's first visit?
As of now, I can't recall.
It was to Italy, and would you remember? For what did you go to Italy for?
I'm not able to.
You went for the G7 summit. Just do a little more of this. It's number 3 in your priority, foreign services, so you should know a little more. Sir.
Thank you. So Abhishek, you're talking about pull and push factors some time back.
Yes, sir.
So I looked that you have taken physics as your optional.
Right, sir.
So what are the pull factors for choosing physics as optional?
Sir, the primary pull factor being my love for the subject. From the beginning, I always loved physics as a subject. Even in my 11th and 12th standard, it intrigued me. But sir, back then I was not aware enough to pursue this as my career. But as I went ahead, I studied it in first year of engineering, and it told me about all the different fields which I was unaware of in the 12th standard. Then sir, computer science engineering was not available as an optional, so I thought it's a good opportunity for me to get back to my love for physics.
So suppose that's your personal area. Point is, suppose a young one comes to you that, sir, you had opted for physics. Should I also opt for physics? What advice you will give to the youngsters?
Sir, I'll definitely tell him that if you love physics as a subject and if you enjoy reading it, then you should go for this subject because apart from getting you prepared for civil services, it also teaches you how the nature works. So that's a plus point.
Very good. And do you identify yourself more with Agra or a city in Rajasthan, or with Bhopal or Morena? Where do you identify yourself?
Sir, I identify myself more with Agra because it's also my birthplace and my permanent residence.
That's correct. So if we talk of Agra, then do you think that we need to do much more for tourists who come to Agra than only selling point being Taj Mahal? What more we can offer to tourists?
Sir, it is important to diversify the tourism potential of Agra beyond just Taj Mahal. There is a huge potential of rural tourism. My village is also just a few kilometers away from Agra, but the culture is different. It's like we can accommodate rural homestays. We can tell people about the cultures, the Bateshwar group of temples, which is unheard of. Also, as far as Mughal monuments go, there are other monuments apart from Taj Mahal which are equally important, like 𝐸𝐻 Tomb, Fatehpur Sikri, Buland Darwaza, Sikandra Palace. All these monuments are not like their tourism potential has not been utilized.
Advertisement has not been that. Marketing has been poor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. How do you do better marketing? Say for Fatehpur Sikri.
Can I take a few seconds?
Think about it.
Sir, organizing road shows. When tourists come to visit Taj Mahal, the guides which they generally hire can be told to tell them more about other possible destinations which they can also visit beyond Taj Mahal. The hotels they stay in, like gallery walks can be made which showcase other avenues where they can go. Sir, all this can be done to increase their awareness regarding various other tourist spots.
Okay. Thank you, Abhishek.
So optional is physics apart from your graduation with computer science. I remember you mentioned in reply to one of the questions, chairman's question about the efficacy of quantum computers vis-a-vis the classical computers. You said that the qubits can take any position from 0 to 1, both or any other position, because of a phenomena called quantum interference. Pray tell me what is quantum interference. I thought it was superposition.
Sir, I might have mistakenly said quantum interference in place of superposition because sir, interference as a phenomena is also a consequence of superposition of waves. So that's why I might have misspoken back then.
Tell me what is quantum entanglement and teleportation.
Sir, quantum entanglement is a quantum phenomena whereby two particles get attached to each other at a quantum level so that the behavior of one particle indirectly affects the behavior of other particle. For example, when two electrons pass very close to each other and they get quantumly locked, then what happens is the spin of one electron is always opposite to the spin of another electron. This phenomena is known as quantum entanglement.
Teleportation?
Quantum teleportation is a avenue of modern research whereby information like bodies can be transferred from one place to another without actually moving through the space between those places. And this happens when the quantum information of one body is transmitted to other place, and then that body is regenerated at that other place instead of the actual body being transported.
That's the science fiction.
So research is going on in this field. I won't call it science fiction exactly because at small scale it has been proved certain electrons have been translocated from one position to another without actually moving them.
All right, I leave it at that. Difference between fission and fusion.
Sir, in fission reaction, heavier atoms tend to achieve stability by splitting into smaller atoms. Whereas in fusion reaction, smaller atoms tend to achieve stability by fusing together.
In either of these two, huge amount of energy is released. Where does this energy come from?
Sir, the energy comes from the mass that is destroyed. So
Destroyed.
during the reaction, yes sir. So according to Einstein,
Anyway, carry on.
sir, according to mass energy equivalence, mass when destroyed will create energy. So two hydrogen atoms.
Not destroyed, it is converted.
Right, sir. It is converted into energy. So it stops being mass and then converts into energy. That's what I meant.
So what happens physically? Say uranium-235, it splits into?
So xenon and molybdenum, if I recall correctly.
All right, what happens?
So sir, the combined mass of the products is usually less than the mass of the reactant. And the mass difference between them, that is the difference.
All right, all right. given you name. What is a cold fusion?
Sorry, sir?
Cold fusion.
Sir, to conduct fusion reactions, usually very high temperature and pressure is required. But sir, research has been going on to reduce that temperature, and that fusion reaction on lower temperatures is known as cold fusion.
Excellent. So, my last question. India has border problems with China. While we don't have time to talk about in details, please tell me in which sector the problems lie.
Sir, the problems more or less lie along the line of actual control. One in Ladakh, second in Arunachal Pradesh.
Is the Arunachal Pradesh line of actual control?
This line of actual control is in Ladakh. There is also disputed territory in Arunachal Pradesh at the tri-junction of Bhutan, China and India.
The Doklam area.
Yes, sir.
That's not Arunachal Pradesh. It's the Siliguri, just above the Siliguri corridor. There is no Arunachal Pradesh there. All right. What is the McMahon line? And where does it start and where does it end?
So if I recall correctly, McMahon line is the border, a line drawn, a border between India and China along the eastern front.
India and Tibet.
India and Tibet. India and Tibet.
Carry on.
So India acknowledges that line, whereas China doesn't acknowledge that line because it considers itself not being a party when that line was drawn. So that is the primary source of dispute.
Thank you. Kapoor sir.
Abhishek, let's talk about computer science a little bit.
Sure, sir.
Have you heard of the Turing test?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So Turing test is the test to identify or differentiate between what is content generated by artificial intelligence or whether the content is generated by humans.
So can you name some particular examples where the machine is able to pass the Turing test? Particularly concerning ones.
Sir, I am not able to recall.
We've heard of deepfakes.
Yes, sir.
They do that very well, no?
Yes, sir. They can pass Turing tests.
Right. I mean, something coming just to physics, and then we'll move on to other areas. Something that interested me when you spoke of interference and superposition. What is the measurement problem in physics?
Sir, the measurement problem arises from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. He says that you cannot simultaneously measure two canonical conjugate variables with equal precision. So when you measure, for example, position and momentum of a particle, the more precise the position gets, the error in momentum increases.
That's correct. And Heisenberg was affiliated with a particular school of thought. There's something called the Copenhagen interpretation. You heard of that?
No, sir, I have not heard about it.
All right, then we won't go there, no problem. Tell me something about Deloitte and your experience as an analyst. In particular, my question is that the government, on various occasions, on multiple occasions, is consulting with firms like Deloitte and McKinsey, etc., in search for perhaps more data-driven decisions.
Right, sir.
What is the argument that people from Deloitte and McKinsey and other consultancy firms should not be allowed to directly administer? Because that is what lateral entry is all about. There was a notification, there was a vacancy, then the vacancy was withdrawn. What is your opinion on lateral entry?
So lateral entry as a policy for recruiting mid or senior level bureaucrats has both pros and cons. Pros being definitely the efficiency and the expertise which they possess working in corporate field for so many years can be brought into administration and it can be streamlined. Whereas sir, critics argue that this policy undermines the constitutional principles, Article 309, which says that any recruitment process of bureaucrats shall be passed by the parliament. So this overcomes that principle. Apart from that, sir, there is no policy of reservation in lateral entry. So that is another point of critique.
So what is the best way forward? Should we optimize for efficiency or equality?
So there should be a balance between efficiency and equality. Sir, since these people are recruited for on a contract basis for 3 or 5 years, so sir, bringing reservation into this policy does not make much sense as far as my humble opinion is concerned. Sir, lateral entry definitely benefits the administration as a whole because there are a lot of vacancies at that level. And sir, people who are working in bureaucracy at lower levels still need time to get that expertise to fill those vacancies. So for the time being, it can be utilized as an option.
I was just reading somewhere that Mr. Narayan Murthy seems to think that people from MBA schools, good business schools, should be allowed directly to come into the IAS and the IPS. What are your opinions about that, and how does that differ from the opinions that you just gave about lateral entry?
Right, sir. Sir, MBA graduates or people who have studied business need not necessarily understand the intricacies which are required in administration. Apart from working efficiency, there are many other things like emotional intelligence, empathy, which they need to be trained on. So even if in the current scenario also we are taking MBA graduates, but through a training process, through an examination process, which in itself tests whether you have all those qualities apart from the academic ones to become a bureaucrat. So I think current model is better than directly recruiting them because a bureaucrat requires more than just that.
Because otherwise then you would not have to come here at all, straight from Deloitte to the IAS. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Abhishek, we come to the end of our formal interaction.
Right, sir.
How many mocks have you taken?
Sir, a couple of mocks before this.
And this is your first UPSC interview, right?
Right, sir.
You're relatively young. 4th April is your interview date.
Right.
So first, let's have a self-assessment. How do you think you performed?
Sir, I thought I improved upon the last mock. I have read more about things which might be asked, and some of them have been asked as well. I thought I confused upon that word, quantum interference, which sir pointed out. So I should not have done that because it's my field, my love, physics. Apart from that, some statistics, as ma'am said, could have been studied better about the trade with ASEAN nations.
Well, let me tell you, Abhishek, the good news is that you're a very promising candidate. You're a very good candidate.
Thank you, sir.
You're a candidate with which the panel likes to engage with. You see, this is not a test of knowledge per se.
Right, sir.
It's a test of your personality. And you come across as having a very good personality, a good physical presence. You need to comb your hair.
Right, sir.
Please stand up. Let me see if your tie is in the correct position in terms of its length. Yes, perfect. That's good. Please sit down. So you have, and then with your background and your experience in Deloitte and so on, so you're a very good candidate. Please go with that positive mindset and with that clear mind that I have what it takes, I have the smarts, I'm going to knock this panel off its feet.
Sure, sir.
Now, a few things which, I want to point out, which will basically optimize your performance.
Sure, sir.
So, the first thing is that sometimes a question is asked which is somewhat tricky, and one is not only seeing your response but also trying to assess whether you have got the idea behind asking that question. So, for instance, I asked you that the IAS has failed the nation, and you said it's an exaggeration, and I in fact tried to correct you by saying that you said it's an exaggeration, you did not say it's incorrect. Why would you like to join a service which has failed the nation? You have to rebut it strongly. No, sir, that is completely incorrect. The IAS is the steel frame. You finally came to it at the end. The IAS is the steel frame, and we saw during COVID.
Right, sir.
Right? And then you reel off the achievements.
Sure, sir. I made a mistake there.
Yes, very much so. You have to show that passion for public service. I mean, you had, with that kind of background, you could have gone and you did in Deloitte and you could have continued. We need a strong argument for you switching gears, right?
Right, sir.
And this was an opportunity to show it.
Right, sir.
You fluffed it. See that it doesn't happen in the main that.
Sure, sir, sure. I'll make sure.
Okay, so coming back to some generic points. as I said, this is not an, a test of knowledge per se. It is a test of your personality, but each question is like a key to a lock,
Right.
unlocking a facet of your personality. That is the idea. And what is the panel looking for? It's looking firstly integrity. So don't guess, don't make wild claims. Huh? It's looking for conceptual clarity. That you can get. I'll speak about it in detail how some of these newspapers and TV channels you can watch and read about, and that gives you an inkling. Lucidity, which means how well you present your views, and that is dependent on how concise you are without compromising comprehensiveness.
Right.
That is a tightrope walk which you have to master. Your opinions have to be balanced, no extreme opinions. Self-awareness and awareness of what is happening in the world. Quick thinking. So they might give you a question just to see whether you get flustered or not. Analytical ability. We don't want superficial knowledge.
Right.
We want you to get to grips with the, issue being discussed. And finally, poise and self-confidence. This is very important. So even if there comes, there will be ups and downs in the interview.
Right.
So they are looking to see whether you are able to take everything in your stride, or whether, at some point of time you get completely knocked off balance. Avoid that, right? Which newspapers are you reading?
Sir, currently I'm reading Indian Express.
Indian Express has a very good column. I think it's called E-Explained.
Yes, sir.
Add one financial newspaper to this and add Hindu. Hindu, you don't need to read everything because it would be a repetition. All you need to do is to go to a section which is called text and context. That will give you that conceptual clarity I'm talking about.
Right, sir.
Right? And what TV channels are you seeing?
None, sir. I'm not.
No, but you must. And particularly, I recommend to everybody WION, World is One News. Have you heard of it?
Yes, sir. I've seen the YouTube channel. I've seen some videos.
So WION gives you in a package what is happening around the world. And that is very important because questions will be asked. As I said, a civil servant should be self-aware and aware of what is going around in the world. And you can also see some podcasts, Shekhar Gupta, etc. They deal with current problems and possible solutions and so on. Now, coming down to a practical roadmap, you've got a lot of time. What you need to do, see, questions are going to come from four main areas. DAF is there, subject is there, work experience is there, current affairs. Take about 100 of these A4 size sheets. Divide them into four for each category. And think of the possible questions which can come to you from these areas. Now, jot them down. Then do a deep study of each issue. And then reduce them to 4 or 5 bullet points in order of priority.
Okay, sir.
And sit in front of a friend or in front of a mirror and imagine that the question has come to you.
Right.
And then practice. This is how I'm going to respond. Within a minute to 90 seconds. Because you see, you are facing a panel which has very experienced people in it. They know at once whether you know the answer or not. So give them that time to ask additional questions, supplementary questions if they want. But your answer should be like hitting the bullseye. It should be like Arjun with his arrow hitting the eye of the fish.
Yes, sir.
So that the panel, it has to be impactful and impressive. Panel gets impressed and then they move on to something else and again you hit the bullseye and it goes on like that.
Right, sir.
So practice doing that. You've got everything going in your favor. You've got a very good background, academic background. You've got a good background in terms of your work experience. Now this is the final step, conquering Everest.
Yes, sir.
Plant the flag there. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
You are an excellent candidate. Get hold of the, whatever knowledge gap that you might have. I said whatever. You are fairly comprehensive in the question and answer. But if there is anything, please get rid of it
Sure, sir.
in the manner he has suggested. And we have every belief that you should be able to get through with flying colors.
Thank you, sir.
You have anything to ask?
Sir, yeah, I have this question in mind.
Now go ahead.
Sir,
Feel free, this is the informal session.
Sir, what can I do to, like, firstly, I have to reach that level that I'm getting 180, 185. But then what extra is required to move beyond 200? What extra step should I take? Or is there something like that?
Look, no one can give you a magic nuskha.
Definitely, sir.
And don't get caught in this numbers game.
Okay.
All you can do is put your best foot forward.
Sure, sir.
Leave the rest to God. How have you done your mains?
Sir, it went well, but there was a slight hiccup in optional paper 2. So I was thinking to maximize the score here to make up for that.
You take the path which we have mapped out for you,
Sure, sir.
and you will maximize.
Okay,
As it is, you are very close to that maximum potential, just that extra leap, and you'll do very well. Go there with that positive mindset.
Definitely, sir.
Don't have these self-doubts.
Okay, sir.
Avoid any howlers.
Sorry, sir.
Howlers. No major mistakes.
Right, sir.
And one advice that I can readily give, just in case you are in doubt or if you don't know anything, just say, I don't know. Steer clear of any such likely mistakes. As I said, what the interview board members would look for in a candidate is, first thing is integrity,
Right, sir.
right? That he is not making any false claims, not trying to bluff. That is something which you must avoid at all costs.
So, sir, did I make a howler today or a
No,
blunder?
you did not.
Apart from obviously saying that statement being an exaggeration, I could have
No,
handled
I wouldn't call that a howler. I would call that a mistake, all right, but not a howler. A howler is, I asked a person about a bullet train. I said, is it called a bullet train because of its speed? He says, it's called a bullet train because it goes 5 times faster than a bullet. That's a howler. By the way, why is it a bullet train so called?
Sir, it is fast. Not faster than a bullet, of course. And also it's
No, it's the shape of the nose.
shaped like
It looks
a
like
bullet.
that.
It looks like a bullet. The shape of
That
the
is also a
nose.
point. Yes, sir.
Then there is a physics behind that.
Yes, it's
The shape of bullet
Yes, sir. Aerodynamics to increase the
yes.
efficiency.
Yes.
Aerodynamic efficiency.
Reduce the drag.
and
Resistance, yeah.
reduce the drag. Huh? So those are the inner, second, third level issues.
Right, sir.
You can carry through the interview if you speak like that.
Right, sir. Sir, can I ask one more thing?
Sure.
So there's this suggestion I've been getting that you need to structure your answers better, and I get it. I get where it's coming from. Like when a question is asked, I try to formulate an answer, but it's very difficult to formulate the structure in 1 or 2 seconds, which I get to think.
That is where the preparation of your answers is going to help.
Right.
You see what he said, that you list out questions, maybe 20, 25, 100 odd questions, then you make a deep study of all the questions so that you are completely on top of the questions. Then with your intellect, you work out the bullet points. The first line should be the actual answer to the question, the most important part. The second line thereafter, less important. Third line thereafter, there should be no fourth line. Short and crisp, and then this is what you have to say. And if you practice, your answers are automatically structured.
Right.
Don't have to think more about it.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Best of luck.
One bit of advice, sir, if I can.
Please.
As far as I can understand you, I think you are a very competitive person, and competitive people thrive on feedback.
Right, sir.
And what I noticed is when you came and you started out, the energy levels were high. But I think that you were constantly seeking the facial feedback from the members. And because you didn't get a lot of smiles or too much encouragement, even though you're doing very well, I think that energy waned a little bit. And if you end up meeting a few people who don't really give you very loud non-verbal cues, that confidence tends to go down. I think somehow it's a thing with you, but it's a very minor thing. So I just wanted to point out, don't let that bother you.
Sure, sir.
You're,
Sure.
In my opinion, superb.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.